That was crazy.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Chris Rock said one of the most mild jokes ever.
It was pretty mild.
Jada
I thought so.
Pinkett is bald. Apparently, I didn't know this. I found out after the fact that she didn't shave her head voluntarily. She shaved her head because she's suffering from alopecia.
Yeah, I didn't know this either.
So I don't know if Chris knew this, but Chris says a joke around
G.I. Jane
2, looking forward to it, very mild, just laughed, and even said, come on, that was nice. And then Will Smith initially laughs.
Yes.
But it looked like Jada was upset.
Mm-hmm.
And so Will changes his tune, walks on stage, and smacks Chris Rock in the face at the Oscars.
I think that's the funniest part.
And then says, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth.
Yes, he does.
And then he goes, come on, man, that was a G.I. Jane joke. And he screams it out like,
keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Yes.
And it's like his lips were quivering. And he, first of all, that whole scene doing that in that manner, in that place, is a great example of what's wrong with the glorification of just being able to go up to someone and smack them in the face. Because that is that whole thing was so
I'm gonna disagree
weird.
with you here.
Please do. Well, what is your
But
take?
I want to let you.
Before
I
my
want you
take.
to finish though.
What? Wait, bro, you're literally what? I actually thought he was, I mean, this is like two conflicting values. On the one hand, you have the misogynistic, paternalistic attitude that like, oh, he's defending his wife, so that's good, he did that. And then also the other conflicting value here is that like you have to defend comedy, like this is comedy under attack, the overarching concept of like comedy being under attack. So I think that's why Joe is like taking the comedy side, because it's like cancel culture adjacent.
Well, no, you said you were going to disagree with me.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I don't actually think that there's any glorification of violence in the sense of free capability on Will's part.
What do you mean by that?
Well, for one, I don't think that there was any inherent given that you could just get away with it. I think that
I really thought Joe would be like pro-violence. I thought he was going to be like pro-Will Smith. I'm actually shocked. Like, actually surprising. I guess I'm wrong to think that, though.
whatever Will did, he did it, and he was like, whatever comes with it, that I'll have to own up to it.
I don't think he was thinking that far ahead at all.
Maybe he wasn't, but
I
maybe
think
he's
he was
like
being
in this
emotionally
moment,
fragile.
probably.
And he acted on impulse.
Sure.
And I think it's a foolish impulse that you do when you know there's no consequences.
By the way, he's not wrong. Joe is actually right. I mean, I think it's funny what happened, but like ultimately he's not wrong. He is right. Which is crazy.
So you're hitting
but
a
here's
very
the thing.
small
I'm going to say that
person.
I don't know that he thinks that there's now in terms of hitting Chris in terms of them and their physical differences and capability of combat, let's say, yes.
There's no consequences.
But I'm saying, but there's no consequences in getting out of your seat and striking somebody on national television.
Yeah, but I don't think he was thinking about that. I think he was acting
You mean
impulsively.
simply in terms of
Yeah.
man to man and who's capable and what's capable. And you know what? That may be the case in the microcosm of things. But if you hit anybody for any reason in public at this point, you have the very real fact of all of the powers of law that be, especially depending on who you are, and what the public and the cathedral thinks of you, smashing you to death until you're penniless, bankrupt, and everyone
Oh,
hates
but that's
you.
not gonna stop. That's not going to happen here.
What?
Probably
It was
not.
never going to happen.
Probably
He just
not.
smacked him.
But
He didn't beat.
Bro, what world are these homies living in, bro? What? Like, who's that happening to? Like, that, I don't even understand how, like, that is like, cancel culture is doing that. Who did it do it to? Like, who has been, like, fucking destroyed because they were in like a fight or something in public. Because if you say Dave Chappelle, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Okay. Nobody canceled Dave Chappelle. He didn't get canceled into a $200 million contract. Shut the fuck up.
Beat the shit out of him. He didn't harm him.
But,
He smacked him in the face
we
and
live in a
humiliated
society
him.
where violence is so.
But there's no way. There's no way Will Smith's going to become penniless from smacking Chris Rock. That was never.
You wouldn't think so. You wouldn't think
he's
so.
extremely wealthy. It's not going to happen. And not only that, Chris Rock instantly didn't press charges. He wouldn't press charges, and he just accepted it.
I would say it should have been handled in the back, or he could have stood up, said something right on the spot.
But listen, no.
And not done anything about it, or
Chris
said
Rock's
it in the
doing
back.
his fucking job. You don't go and sit in the front row. You're a star
Yeah.
at the Oscars. There's a professional comedian whose job
Yes.
is to roast people. That's what he.
I can't believe I agree with Joe. I mean, yeah, you're supposed to behave. He's right. And not only that, but he's also right on the fact that, like, you know, it's not. I mean, so far he hasn't made it seem like it's the end of the world, so I don't know.
He's doing, and what he did was not even insulting.
It's not about.
It was a mild joke.
It's not about. What is it? It's not about giving Will Smith a pass or saying what he did was right. But what I am saying is that from his perspective, if it was that important, he could have, barring going up there and hitting Chris in front of everyone, and he could have said something if he had to do it right then and there. If he felt that it was that egregious of a remark, and I agree with you, Chris Rock's a comedian. The presenters at the Oscars are supposed to be entertainers, often crack jokes that either that they do themselves in Chris's perspective or from Chris's situation, or ones that are written for him. Chris is a comedian. I highly doubt that they don't know each other at this point, being in Hollywood for as long as they have. And
Bro, if you've been hit in the head as many times as this dude probably has been, you should just not be on the podcast or a podcast. What is happening right now? I feel like I'm listening to this dude just like try to describe things, and he's having such a hard time with it. He's just saying things now just to, you know, pad the deck. I mean, he might as well be like, oh, 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 oh.
And in my opinion, if you really want to settle things, go do it personally. Speak to the person first. Give them an opportunity to apologize for things, especially if they didn't realize that what they were doing was.
I hear all the things you're saying, but they're not applicable. That was not an insult. It was the most mild joke about her hairstyle
I fully
in
get
reference
it.
to a movie where a lady shaved her head.
I fully get it, but
Like,
I'm
the
just
idea
simply
that there's
saying
any justification.
No, it is out of pocket. Like, no, the joke was out of pocket. It still doesn't justify being slapped in the face, but like, Chris Rock might not have known. But it's still a joke. You know what I mean? You don't fucking slap people in the face for a joke, guys. Like, that's the point. For people saying like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Not at all. Like, no, he's. Of course, it was a tasteless joke, right? But who cares? It's still a fucking joke, and it's not even like a. It does not deserve the retaliation, the escalation of force. You know what I mean? So obviously he's in the wrong there. But G.I. Jane is being mocked because of reverse gender norms? No, he was making a joke about how Jada was, you know, bald, like was balding, and he might not have known it was because of alopecia, but ultimately I think it was. Also, the male bald jokes are out now too, right? We can't do anything like her. Doubtful. First of all, this is a fucking safe space for the bald, okay? And by that I mean, if you call me bald, I will ban you, and I have, and I will do it again. Okay, as someone who's has been called bald a lot, I wish I could Will Smith a lot of you motherfuckers. Okay. Anyway, regardless, it's not like I think the fact that she has alopecia, which is like a pretty serious condition. I mean, like it's not just about vanity in that situation. It's like not bullshit. You know what I mean? It's not great at all. But yeah, the fact that she has alopecia and also, like if she's a black woman, this is like a space where, a black woman is being called out for her hair and hair, as a part of like, the black identity is significant. Hair has like literally been a political subject matter, especially for black women. Like, it's more complicated than just saying, people make fun of bald people all the time. Like, you know? Now, Chris Rock knows better that they're in a white space and he's making a joke like that. And that's what makes it out of pocket. Or that's the reason why you see a lot of you see a lot of black people on Twitter have a drastically different take than you do. Now, you can get mad at me for revealing this information to you, okay? I'm just simply the arbiter, the mediator who is explaining to you that, you know, the reasons as to why you see a lot of people on Black Twitter like make jokes about it and not even get mad at Will Smith at all, and even in certain instances like defend. Like, I don't see the joke as bad, but y'all are wilding out right now. I have alopecia universalis, no eyebrows or eyelashes, no hair at all on my body. It's mostly vanity. I am slightly more resistant to viruses, and my nails are trash. Yeah. Why do you get called bald? Why would you get called bald? The wig is top notch. So, once again, black hair, specifically black women's hair, has always been like a political subject matter. I'm just trying to describe to you why the joke was received as out of pocket. Not that it justifies Will Smith's actions. Do you care about understanding that, or do you just want to fucking write in the chat about how like fucking white you are personally and how you don't give a shit? Like, it's always important to understand where people are coming from, right? Like, you know, it just please let me describe something to you. Let me use my privilege as an arbiter, as someone who is someone you listen to normally, to you know, deepen your understanding a little bit. Okay. So that's the reason why you're sounding like the Stonelock guy on the podcast. What Stonelock guy? Yes, black women's hair is very important to us, and alopecia isn't talked about very much in the black community. It can be super scary to be going through that, and I'm sure she's really insecure. I think that's the reason why it was. Yes, I think that's the reason why Will Smith behaved the way that he did. Don Jada being black has nothing to do with the situation. I think that she has talked about her problems with alopecia in the past. I think that's the reason why she felt very uncomfortable and didn't appreciate it. And not only that, but there's a reason why you see like two separate points of view on the internet on this, like with white people being like, Will Smith needs to be thrown the book. And then a lot of black people being like, this was funny. You know, yeah, it was unacceptable, but it was funny. Everybody needs to chill the fuck out. You know what I mean? It's not cancer. It doesn't have to be. I'm just saying that, like, people care about the way they look, especially as a consequence of a medical condition. They like, you know, the way they look is they're not happy with the way they look. Literally legislation, the Crown Act about black women's hair being accepted in the workplace on its way to the Senate. Yeah.
Whatsoever of him getting up there and smacking him in the face like
he
that.
He didn't need to go up there and smack him at all.
No.
But regardless of what you and I think of how important or how what the weight of what Chris said was, just removing us out of the equation. If it's really that important to Jada, and therefore it then becomes important to Will, then he should deal with it on a personal level. And
You're in the moment. Hasan, Jada being black has nothing to do with the situation. What? I don't think her race has anything to do with it. Her race has nothing to do with it. What's your take on the situation? Why do you think people aren't upset about it then? As upset as like some people that we've seen in liberal media. Please tell me, as a black woman, what else you got on this subject matter. Anyway, ultimately, it doesn't even fucking matter, because what Will Smith did is still unacceptable. I'm pretty sure we're all aware of that, and we are all in agreement of that. Most people that defend Will Smith in this situation defend him from a misogynistic perspective that, like, you have to fucking defend your wife and you know, promote physical escalations to in a situation like that. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's dumb. That's not correct. Okay. Zoe Kravitz posted about it. Here's a picture of my dress at the show where we are apparently assaulting people on stage now. Zoe Kravitz is the perfect person you could find in this situation to show as an example. I'm not going to say anything. I love Zoe Kravitz. She's beautiful. There's nothing more than a poor taste joke. It's not a race issue. No. Jada says she doesn't care what people said about her hair. I don't give two craps what people think of this bald head just before the Oscars. Bro, saying that does not change anything about how you receive something like that, okay? What the fuck? Who gives a shit that she said that? What? I say that too. Do you think I don't care when people call me bald? No, I fucking do, okay? Of course. Yeah, it's like, I will defend Will Smith, but because I want to see more slaps, thank you. That's the correct take, honestly. Anyway, let's continue. I don't know why this is still like a stun line. Only white people say that race is never an issue because they're white. I mean, that person is said that they're black, and they think it's not a race issue either.
Have a conversation with Chris before anything.
Of course.
Because you have to give someone the opportunity, because one, you have to assume potentially that Chris had malicious intent in what he had to say.
Well, how do you have malicious intent in a mild joke?
Tell me about it.
No,
I'm saying I don't agree that he did.
I'm telling you, dude, this is all rational thinking about an irrational act.
It's an irrational act. But
he was emotionally fragile, and he
Oh my God. Joe Rogan is right. What the fuck?
acted on impulse in a staggeringly stupid way.
I'll tell you something. Somebody, a good dude who I know didn't mean any harm, was kind of, playfully, verbally sparring with my girlfriend. And she didn't, actually, it made her really uncomfortable, and she didn't really like it. And so the next time we run into him, and my girlfriend's like, I hope he doesn't, come up and say XYZ again. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't think that's going to happen. And he does. And I'm like, okay. So I pull him to the side and I'm like, hey, look, I know you don't mean anything by it, but you know, X, Y, Z, and we just have a simple conversation, and the guy's just like,
yeah, good.
I don't want to have
rational.
but
that's a rational response.
I get it.
To two human beings having some sort of a dispute.
But to assume people have malicious intent, especially in that position, I think is an erroneous way of approaching it. So I don't
think it had anything to do with that. I think what he was doing was
so you don't think
saving face.
You think so?
He was doing some weird movie thing. It was like he was getting away with it as if he was living in a fictional movie. Like the idea that you think it's smart while wearing a tuxedo to walk onto a stage in front of the world, like literally the world, one of the biggest award shows on earth, if not the biggest, and smack a comedian for the most mild joke, and then sit there quivering, saying,
With
keep
anger,
my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. And everybody's just going to sit there in the shit that you just took on the table. You just pulled your pants down and took a shit on the dinner table, and they all have just sit
Yeah,
there.
but that's awesome, Joe. What the fuck is wrong with you? That's like real. This is the part that I don't understand. I mean, it's correct. But, like, how do you not revel in that? You know what I mean? You're not there. You're not at the fucking Oscars. You're never going to go to the Oscars. Just enjoy it from the sidelines like the rest of us, which is my point. Like, that's content, baby. What the fuck is this? It's awesome. It literally is awesome. That is the one area where I'm just like, that's fucking dope. It's fucked up that I just don't see them as, like, human beings. And I see them as like deities, but fuck, man, that shit was tight.
There and look at that. That's what it's like.
A shit full of peanuts and corn and everything.
It stinks.
Yeah, normalizing assault is super not serious. Bro, that's not normalizing assault, man. Oh my Lord, Jesus Christ, yo, anarchist, fucking dial it back challenge, impossible difficulty. You can fucking use terms like this to make it seem more serious than it actually is, okay? It's fine. But, like, there's nuance to it, okay? There's nuance to it. It's funny, but we should be punished even if it's just a slap on the wrist. The beauty of being a human being, the beauty of being a human being and the human existence is how complex we are, okay? Our flaws. The things that we get wrong. The idea that we need to operate like fucking hall monitors in a situation where like nuance itself creates a unique circumstance where it's not like normalizing assault. Like you can try to use objective or not objective, but like clinical language, right? As hard as you want in the situation. But ultimately it's two dudes that have known each other for 35 years and one slaps the other over a fucking joke that his wife did not appreciate. Okay? It happened in front of hundreds of millions of people, but ultimately it doesn't matter because they've already given up. They've already fucking made up. You know, what's it to you? But you're like, you believe in a world where it's like, dude, what the fuck? We have to have rules that you're just saying it's okay to hit people for making jokes. It's not. Will was literally in the wrong there. But sometimes things aren't so wrong that you need to basically fucking throw the book at someone or regulate someone like your motherfucking HasanAbi. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And I think that the more I bring it up, the more people are just like getting geared up to just be like, he needs to be jailed. He needs to be punished. So it's just very, very weird. Why you scam me for $3? I donated the Biotic song to you. Hey, dumbass, it literally already read the TTS. You missed it. So I didn't even fucking scam you. And it was really annoying when you did that. I agree. So the joke was 100% okay too. No, I mean, it doesn't matter. You can make jokes that are not okay. Like, you should not get slapped for it. But a slap does occur in that situation, you shouldn't fucking lose your mind over it, especially if it's contextually appropriate. It's not a random person slapping a fucking comedian because they didn't appreciate the joke. That is unacceptable. Okay? So, I don't know. I don't know why people are just like I don't think we should be making exceptions to the laws. Literally, we should always make exceptions to the laws. You are so insane. We also do make exceptions to the laws. Lenience, dude. That's real crime bill, dude. You're giving me a lot of crime bill energy here, Joe Biden. Got a lot of Joe Brandons in the chat. Why do you all sound like fucking fascists, dude? Your analysis falls apart when you consider that it happened in front of millions. Of course, people are going to be invested in it. They wouldn't feel the same if it was in a smaller group. Yeah, no one would know or care about it if it was in a fucking smaller group, dumbass. It doesn't matter that it happened in front of millions of people, though, because ultimately the action and the reaction is it played itself out imperfectly in the most like simplistic, most perfect way it could have. Okay, immediate concessions, immediate apologies. Everyone's fine. You just want to fucking keep talking about it because you want to debate about it because you think like, oh, this is a good time to fucking piss off the streamer. Very clear that he's at the precipice of a stun lock. And no matter how much I, a chatter, claim that I don't want him to be stun locked, I actually do want him to be stun locked. Because I can't get over it. I can't get over, watching streamer give me a crumb of that fucking attention that I desperately need to, remind myself that I am alive. Okay?
It's just the whole idea behind it is completely irrational. But what I'm saying is like these people live in this fake world of, you're protected by guards, you're driven by limos, you're on the red carpet, like all of it is crazy life. And he's so goddamn famous and so removed from regular discourse and interaction with regular people that he, for whatever reason in his head, acted like he's a character in a movie.
Maybe so. And I only am not speaking in definites in regards to Will because I don't know the man. I never met him. All these things that you're saying could absolutely be 100% plausible and true. And especially a person like Will, who is in such an elevated position in society at large. And you are 100% right in that these types of folks get removed from reality for a variety of reasons. But it's often a catastrophic process to the person and how they approach the world.
Yeah, but here's what happened right afterwards. He won the Academy Award, then goes up and does a speech. The whole thing was so bizarre, and it made me think, like, how many other human beings could be in a similar situation and pull that off?
Not many.
Like, if a man walked on stage and smacked a woman.
That would not fly.
Would not fly.
Not fly.
If a woman walked on stage and smacked another woman, I don't even think it would fly.
Probably not.
Probably not.
What? None of this matters, man. What is this role reversal shit? Like, yeah, exactly. If fucking a white comedian had made a joke like that, and then fucking a black comedian reacted in that capacity, it would also be like bedlam, okay? You'd have one side being like, it was totally appropriate, fuck you, and the other side being like, no, he should be murdered. Okay, it'd be way, way fucking worse, yes. Black privilege is tearing society apart. Yeah, man, totally. It's that black privilege we're always talking about. I mean, it's wild to think that you are a reader of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and then you turn around and you say black privilege is tearing the society apart. That also goes to show how Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's analysis in the situation falls short of what is, unless you were joking. Yeah, you have to be, right? Because I can't tell. Some people are fucking, Oh, okay. You were joking. Oh, thank God. Okay. Shit. Jesus Christ.
But also, man smacking a woman. We already like it's. I feel like it's even.
Sorry. Miss Slap was also slapped the women. If Rock had physically attacked Pinkett Smith, Smith's intervention would have been welcome, or if he'd remained in his seat and yelled, that would have been unnecessary but understandable. But hitting Rock, he announced that his wife was incapable of defending herself against words. This part is true, by the way. No, he is right. It is misogynistic to be like, yo, I'm going to defend my wife by fucking hitting someone. Like, that shit is there. That's not bad at all. He's right about that. So, this is why I don't understand how Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was presented as a fucking asshole in that Lakers HBO movie series, whatever. It's like he seems like such a fucking like over the top fucking nice person, like too much of a lib, I would even go so far as to say. Wasn't really portrayed that bad. He told the kid to fuck off, dude, when the kid was like, Mr. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I love you. Like, you are my favorite athlete. And he's like, it's like a kid on stage, and he goes, fuck off. I mean, I would defend a friend if someone was talking shit. I don't know. I would like if my husband defended me in a situation. Yes. Except, you know, running up and like punching someone or slapping someone is top. Defending women is misogynistic, especially if she's telling him she's upset. I think that I do think that like going and slapping someone in the face in a situation like that, albeit funny, is only funny because it's like so over the top. If we're gonna fucking dive into the weeds of it, and if we're like actually gonna look at like the serious part about it, then no. 298K peak viewers on Fortnite Monday, hosted by Ludwig Ogren. Top channels by peak viewers: XQC, Valkyrie, Hasan the Hun. But yeah, no, we're done with this after this video is over because it's such a silly topic to
and an ingrained thing. Like,
cover.
You don't fucking do that.
I think
Number two, women smacking women. All the women are going to look back and be like, women don't solve their issues with violence. You're supposed to, you know, tear them down in other ways. And like women, when women start feuding with,
dude, it's like, it's just like, it's such a perfect amount of violence. You know what I mean? It's like so much violence that it's not like, holy fuck, that's violent. But it's not so little that no one cares about it. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying it's like a perfect amount. It was like a perfect slap, dude. It was like disrespectful, but it wasn't like concussion inducing. You know what I mean? It was like, it was awesome. It was fucking dope. It was perfect. And it created a news cycle for 24 to 48 hours where we were just like constantly talking about it. What more can you want? These are celebrities. This is what they're supposed to do. They're living for our entertainment. Okay? And it was fucking tight.
with one another, and one of them finally says, "That's it," and they go to violence. It's almost as if they lost completely. Like all the other women are.
And that's why your take is L. Yeah. Well, I'm just, you know. How many times have you watched that gross display of violence, you little bitch? Anyone who says that, anyone who fucking says that, who's like, oh, dude, your take is L. Like, you're like, dude, you've literally watched this gross display of violence and have been debating it for like 48 hours. You love it just as much as I do. The difference between you and I is that I admit it. I'm admitting that I'm a pig. You, on the other hand, are like, haha, I'm actually above this, and I want to have a moralizing point of view here. So shut the fuck up. Oh, man, you're a celeb as well. Punch Austin next time he comes over for content. That'd be great. You guys would love that shit. I would never do that to Austin, though.
Like, you broke. Sorry, you're out.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
just
there's
simply because
plenty
women
of
just
world star hip hop videos of women beating the fuck out of each other. You can find a lot of videos.
Have you seen this? Kind of gives the insight onto the slap situation. Once again,
15.
Think about the intense fragility of Will Smith's mind. Yeah, dude, a fucking person who's not like a person who's all there is not gonna run up on stage during the Oscars and slap someone like
years old.
Yes, I mean it's true. Obviously, like
My
like no one's like no. It was actually super logical what he did. Oh man. Let's see this. Let's see what he had to say.
my first girlfriend, when I was 15 years old, my first girlfriend cheated on me.
Oh.
And I remember making a decision that nobody would ever cheat on me again. And the way I was going to do that is by being the biggest actor on earth.
Huh.
Right? So there's been this weird
God.
psychology that I've always felt like if my movies are number one, my life is going to work out great.
Huh.
You know?
Okay, he's just describing the how insecure he is and how his insecurities motivated him to be better. Yeah, that did not age well. Okay. Bill Burr fans raging on his Reddit that he didn't mention the slap, calling him a part of the Hollywood elite now. I mean, I'm not going to do armchair psychology. I'm just going to say Bill Burr's wife, black woman. Maybe that's why he didn't want to say anything, because he probably recognized that, you know, there's two things at play here. One, Bill Burr being a comedian. Two, you know, old Billy Bitch Tits has, you know, pretty good perspective on some of those issues. So that's probably why he was like, I shouldn't speak out on this because then I would get ripped apart by the fan base. Not getting canceled? Yeah, that's the cancel culture crowd. The crowd that hates cancel culture would cancel Billy Bitch Tits is super hard too. I don't know. Bill Burr is filming a movie. He has to cut podcast short on purpose. God, I love Bill Burr. Another person that would be an incredible guest. I'm sure he's gonna have some awesome jokes on this though. All right. Anyway, let's finish off this fucking
Videos
saga.
online of women in Walmart parking lots.
Yeah.
Why are you calling him Billy Bitch Tits? Because I'm a gigantic fan of his, and he would call himself, "Oh, Billy Bitch Tits," on the Monday Morning Podcast. How are ya? Oh, that's right. Old Billy Boozebag, back at it again. Fucking fake fans telling me, "Zip, recruiter."
each other's hair.
Yes, there are exceptions. I will
kicking the
agree.
shit out of each other.
I will agree.
But
there
I just
are some
think,
exceptions.
in terms of society standards, I don't think they would have accepted it the same way.
No.
It's like it was a rare instance where someone is so enormously famous and successful like Will Smith that they literally still allowed him to not just win the Academy Award, but also go up and accept it and give a speech after he assaulted a small comedian.
Yeah, they should have
on
ejected him.
stage.
They should have ejected him from the show.
100%. 100%. I agree with that. You can't just go smack a man in the face in front of the world and then go about business as usual. First of all, it sets a terrible precedent.
Yes.
In so many different ways. It sets a terrible precedent for comedy clubs.
Yes.
Like, are people
You mean small isn't like Chris Rock is tiny, like physically? Is that what he meant?
going to
Yes.
decide that they're going to go on stage and smack the comedian
I
now?
hope they try to smack Brendan or you.
Well,
I just want to see one Joe Rogan turning sidekick. Yeah, Chuggy.
I don't necessarily think people are going to change their behavior, but dumb people might. But also, it's just like, what are we saying?
Even here, he's like having a decent, like better take than like other comedians who are like, comedy is under attack. Like, no, and he didn't mean he didn't mean he's small as in like, I think he meant like frame wise. Yes, Chris Rock is physically smaller than Will Smith. Not sure if Joe's being intelligent here or the guest is so dumb that anything he says sounds smart. Yeah, I think that might be a little bit of both here. He really doesn't have any like good feedback. It's surprising.
As a society, when the people that we look up to for whatever reason, for good or for bad, we look up to actors.
Yes.
And the Academy Awards is supposed to be them in their most regal.
This is why he's such a lib, dude. Like, it's such a lib take. The Academy Awards is an institution. Like, we're looking up to it. Like, that's why he's such a lib.
Their most regal outfits, their best behavior, and to drop down to violence for something so innocuous as a G.I. Jane joke. It's
look, man, it's not the hill that I'm looking to necessarily die on either. In term, whatever in particular context, and you know, I had having a conversation with somebody over something that made my girlfriend uncomfortable was, to me, that was the way.
I think we all agree 1,000,000%, even in a leftist community where jokes should be outlawed, okay? Where some leftists unironically think like jokes should get you thrown in jail or jokes should be outlawed in general. We all understand that you should never, ever be able to run up on a fucking comedian or trying out its own material, testing out its material, and maybe even in certain instances bombing or even fucking getting a hilarious bit out of it, okay? Completely unacceptable. Like, I think everybody understands that. Like, I hope. I that's my take at least, okay? Unless it's a Nazi comedian. Okay, well then it's like, but then you're not assaulting someone for being a comedian in that situation. You're assaulting them for being a Nazi. So there's a difference there. Like, someone fucking literally trying to craft material, and even then it gets like into a really weird territory too. But we're talking about like people who are trying to do stand-up. I've heard of a lot of black men die getting shot for defending their girlfriend on the streets. Do you think this situation sends a bad message to the black community, specifically young black teenagers, that it's okay to do this? Bro, this is what? Does the Leo stand for law enforcement officer, brother? What the fuck kind of take is this, dude? This is literally the fucking black culture hits different because, black music is changing black attitudes. It's like the classic, like, drill music needs to be banned because it's too violent and it's making the kids violent. What the fuck?
Way to approach it. But I guess if someone wanted to tell me fuck you about it, then it's like, okay,
right.
Well, now that changes things.
Right, of course.
You don't care how it affects other people, and
right.
you're not actually you're having consideration for me or my girlfriend.
Yeah,
or
there's a pandemic of, bro, O-Block. You know how many people died to slaps? Okay, you don't understand, dude. Don't get it. You don't understand how many people have died to slaps. Okay, okay, guys, don't dunk on him. He was just asking. He might not like realize. You know what I mean? He was just like asking a normal question. Okay, chill. Young impressionable kids are famous for caring about and watching the Oscars every year. Yeah, like the hero to young black children is Will Smith. Like, that's somehow a worse take than literally like fucking again, that's somehow you have arrived at a position that's like worse than fucking drill music is making black teenagers violent, okay? Which is already a ridiculous take, but at least like that is something that people are listening to. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying, but in this case, we saw it.
No,
we see all the elements laid out. Chris Rock's joke was so mild.
I get it. And so, Jada's allowed to take offense and Will's allowed to take offense, but to jump up run on stage.
The only thing that's going to actually fucking turn this into like an extended stun lock is when comedians are gonna fucking get completely out of pocket and start like saying unacceptable shit about Will Smith and about Jada Pinkett Smith, and then it's gonna turn into a much larger issue. Like, they've already started a little bit, and now they're gonna get like really, really fucking aggressive. Like really aggressive. Not just like, not just like lol, Will Smith's a cuck or whatever, but like straight up, they're gonna say some hurtful shit, I think.
Slap him and then throw the scene that he did is a completely different story.
It was a meltdown.
To at least to go and give Chris an opportunity to talk to him, and maybe even Jada, and just be like, look, one, you can see that he did not mean to try and cause any actual harm to you. So, you know what? Just tell him. If you didn't like it, tell him face to face and be like, yo, man, it really, hey, Jada,
that would be,
it really bugs you.
you're talking about two totally different things.
Yo, that's awesome, dude. That's hilarious, dude. First Amendment right for all comedians. Give us an example, Pepela. What's going to end up happening is Tom Segura, for example. Tom Segura's already like gone buck wild with some takes. Not violence, this is violence. Adam, something is right. Nuclear war would be better than whatever is going on today. I agree. Every day I'm closer and closer to nuclear war. Is a big deal, but also should happen because, it's time. It's time. Just like it's time for the top of the hour ad break. It's also time for, mutually assured destruction and, nuclear war that inevitably wipes out all life as we know it on the planet. Nuclear winter. Because, it's just too much. It's just too much. But what's not too much is the top of the hour ad break, which is coming at the top of every hour. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do that for $5. You can do that for free with a Twitch Prime, Here's the 1 minute ad break now.
I get it.
We both agree with that.
But
we
to
both
me,
agree with
regardless
that.
of whether you're Will Smith or you're the other Will Smith, the former like special forces guy who speaks Russian, was in all tons of like 70s and 80s movies. He played Conan's dad in Conan the Barbarian, like that badass motherfucker. You could be that guy, this other super popular Will Smith, or Will Smith that nobody actually knows who that person is. The approach has to be the same. There is no exception for you if you played Ali or if you played Conan's dad or if nobody's seen you play anything, even with yourself.
Well, I think what we're looking at also is the culmination of a long period of like emotional distress. Like that family's been public about all their issues, and there's a conversation that they had to have, like the two of them together, about infidelity or about open relationships, and they were openly mocked because of that. But I think there's a certain defensiveness that comes along with that.
Well, then you know
when
what?
You've been out
Sit
in the public,
It's funny that after a brief Google search, I have found at least 10 stories of people being killed by being slapped. Lol. You fucking own me. You own me in the marketplace of ideas. Thank you, dude. You've owned me. You've owned me in the marketplace of ideas. Okay. Got it. People are dying of slaps all the time, dude. Thank you for your objective truth bringing to the... You have held me accountable, my good sir. You did. You held me so accountable. I mean, I've just... It's like you slapped and killed me, okay? You debunked me, dude. Yeah, it's assault with a deadly weapon, dude. Elvis died while taking a shit. I've been holding it in for years. No kizzy. Yeah. Hey, you never know, dude. You might die. I just got fact checked, sir.
Out in the public getting mocked. Like,
sit in it then. Sit in
Yeah.
it then, because the public is mocking you for the thing that you brought to them.
yeah, listen, I'm in agreement with you.
You know,
100%.
so for me, I'm like, look, if you think if you're adding stress into your life by publicizing and externalizing everything, which again says something more about the state of things, like, why are you externalizing this shit?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, even when I told this story about, oh, you know, this fighter and I had beef, I ain't gonna say his name,
Right.
Because you know what? I'm not trying to create more beef.
Right.
Okay, this dude is the worst Joe Rogan guest.
Hey, the video is over now. But if you enjoyed that, why don't you like, comment, and subscribe? And if you want to see more of that, just go. Well, YouTube's got it around here somewhere.